episode number 104 of the KH-Vids Podcast. This week we're going to be talking about YouTube gaming, which is like the new gaming YouTube. That didn't really need to be said. So with us this week you have your usual hosts of myself, Misty.
Me, libregkd.
And me, Calxiyn.
And nobody else, because this is the KH-Vids Podcast where we talk about having guests but never actually have them.
It's really bad. Okay, to be fair, this particular podcast is even worse than usual in terms of planning.
I feel like every week we say, like, this was the worst planned podcast we've ever done, and, like, we just keep getting worse.
This is probably up there as the worst planned one.
Yeah, I guess we'll address it now. I usually mention it during the community news things, but we have been talking about making changes to our member guest system, where when you apply to be a member guest, you'll be given access to a special member guest section where we post, like, hey, this is the episode we're going to do next, and this is when we're doing it. Post if you want to be a member guest, and we just feel like that'll be more organized than us approaching people individually. It's just, it takes time, of course, to set that up, and I haven't had a chance. My life has calmed down a lot, though, because my work hours have condensed, and now I'm on a regular school schedule. So hopefully we will get better about planning the podcast and having members in the future.
Of course, this also goes with us having a topic to talk about.
Yeah, that's also been an issue that we don't really have topics that much, because it's kind of a quiet period in gaming. There's a lot of stuff that's, like, going to be happening in the next couple weeks, but nothing, like, right now. So it has been a challenge, and we'll tell you about how you can submit topics to the KH-Vids Podcast later on in the episode. But for now, we're going to be talking about YouTube gaming, which, like I said, is like this new kind of... It's weird. Like
it's basically everything. It's like
it's so hard to like define it to me, because I want to say that it's like a subset of YouTube, but it's also like a totally new and fresh thing, you know?
Yeah, I would actually say it would probably be a good description is a subset of YouTube, despite it's kind of more significant than that.
Yeah.
But like it is basically YouTube. Like if you have videos on YouTube, you can watch them on this thing.
Really? Okay, so that's one thing I was going to ask, is like existing YouTube content. Yes. On YouTube gaming. Okay.
Like you can even you can even import the channels you're following on YouTube into this thing.
And is that like an automatic process, like that? Like, let's say I have a channel where I do like Legend of Zelda walkthrough videos. Is it automatically on YouTube gaming, or do I need to kind of port it over?
I need to. I haven't used it myself.
It's okay if you don't know. I haven't used it that much.
But from what I'm seeing, because I'm logged in with my YouTube account right now, and it didn't even ask me to log it in again when I went on to gaming.youtube.
Okay.
And it just there's just this big thing next to my YouTube avatar saying "Go live."
Okay.
And from there it says "Go live" or "Upload video."
Yeah.
So, and I think it's all just interconnected. It's just that the YouTube gaming is just like, hey, if you're on here, then you're only going to get gaming stuff on here if you, like, search for something.
Which I actually like, because gaming, of course, is a huge part of YouTube, and that's why they, made a completely separate area for it. And it's nice sometimes, like, the example that they gave in an article that I was reading, I think it might have been on the official YouTube blog, was that, like, if you search call, you're going to get Call of Duty results rather than Call Me Maybe results. So it is nice if you don't care about like anything else that's on YouTube and you just want to be browsing gaming videos.
Yeah, the search stuff is like if you type it into the search bar, it'll populate the thing with game titles or video game channels or videos or whatever like that. Like if I was just messing around with it, like I typed in Bloodborne and there's just like a Bloodborne page that had all videos related to Bloodborne.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a lot about the UI, but that is that is one thing that I actually really like about it, that you have these separate pages for each game, like Nick gave the example Bloodborne, and then you just have these links where you can say like, okay, I want to see live stuff from Bloodborne, or I want to see Let's Plays of Bloodborne, and I want to see reviews from Bloodborne, and I really, really like that. I think that is great, because like Twitch, of course, is entirely live events. I think they have some form of
VOD.
Archived. Yeah, but it's not very good.
Yeah.
And most people just archive their stuff to YouTube, and so Twitch just really isn't that. But I like that you can kind of choose between it and you can browse by game now on YouTube Gaming, because it was a pain in the ass on YouTube to search for a particular game and find, like, what you wanted. And it's a pain in the ass on Twitch because, like, you don't have, okay, I want to see Let's Plays and reviews and stuff. So I actually really like the whole game page thing. I think that that's great.
Yeah, it's a neat idea. As you said, we'll talk about this more, but the UI leaves a bit to be desired.
Yeah.
In terms of stuff. But yeah, the idea of having, like, hey, if you're searching for stuff on this thing, you're just going to get video game related stuff. That's a pretty neat. Yeah, and, like, having, like, specific game pages where, like, hey, I'm on this game and here's everything related to that game. It's a better search than if you're on YouTube and you may get some other things mixed in with what you're actually trying to find.
Yeah, it makes content a lot easier to find, like, the content that you want. I like that a lot. And what I also like, too, is that you can kind of, like, star or favorite your favorite games, and that, you know, helps you keep track of them and helps you browse the pages. And I really like that as well. So I think that is a great innovation that they've made. To kind of rewind a little bit, just to give some background if you haven't been following what it is, a couple of months ago, we did a podcast episode on the possibility of Google buying Twitch, because Twitch was for sale. It ended up that Google was outbid by Amazon, and Amazon owns Twitch. But YouTube Gaming is, like, now Google's entrance into that market and trying to cash in on the huge market of games gaming streaming.
YouTube has had streaming on it, but it's always been...
It's bad. It's really bad.
It's really bad.
I don't know how else to say it.
I've only used it once, and I don't know how gaming YouTube streaming is any different than that, to be quite honest.
Well, I actually did, I think maybe it was yesterday, I can't really remember, because, you know, everything's just kind of a blur now with summer. I have no sense of time, but I did use it. You do have to go through YouTube to actually, like, go live and still do that same bullshit process that makes my head hurt, but it wasn't as bad as I remember it to be, so maybe they tweaked it a while, but it was an experience, because, I mean, it wasn't, like, horribly bad or anything, but it did work better on the YouTube gaming page, I find. Like, not actually setting up the broadcast, but looking at it and seeing if it was working properly and stuff like that. So I stream League, and it actually automatically tags the game, so you don't need to say what you're playing or anything. It'll just automatically do it if the game's already in the title. And it's even doing that with old videos that I've uploaded, from what I can tell. So as long as, like, Sims 4 or Assassin's Creed is somewhere in there, like, if the game title's in there, it'll automatically tag it. That might be a problem later, because some games have, like, similar...
Yeah, I've already been hearing people who've been having trouble of, like, hey, it's saying I'm streaming Heroes of the Storm when I'm not streaming that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will talk about, like, the viewer experience and how that is much better, I think, on YouTube Gaming as compared to Twitch, but I think the most important question is, Cal, you started playing League?
Started?
Yeah.
We talked about this last week.
Yeah,
I feel like last week you were saying...
a very long time.
Oh, I thought last week you were saying, like, I was thinking about starting, and I told you not to. Okay.
Yeah, I've been playing since the summer started, because I needed something to fill the void that school left me with, and that's what happened.
Oh boy, okay. Well, back to the viewer experience. That is another benefit and pro that I can say about YouTube Gaming. I love the viewer, or not love it, but I like it a lot more than Twitch's experience, and probably the biggest reason is that they're using an HTML5 player over Twitch's Flash player.
Eventually, Twitch is eventually moving out of that.
Eventually, but, like...
Because, like, Twitch recently replaced their chat with an HTML5 chat.
Yes, but it's 2015. There is no reason to still be using Flash.
You say that. But I do like the player works a lot better for me than the Twitch player does.
Yeah, and my big experience was I watched E3 through YouTube Gaming. Obviously, YouTube Gaming wasn't launched at the time, but it was, like, their same service, and I had a much better experience with the player. I've always had trouble with Twitch, and these aren't problems that are just limited to me. So the experience for the viewer, I think, is a lot better. As far as, like, the streaming setup goes, like, it's one of those things where you set it up once and then you kind of just have it done. So even if it is kind of finicky and not great the way that YouTube has the streamer set it up, it's again, it's like you do it once and it's done.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and
hopefully that's the case.
Yeah.
Most streaming softwares have it so, like, it'll automatically stream, so you don't need to go and fill out everything. As long as you have the stream key that one time, you're okay. I think I was using XSplit, which, that was an experience too. But it does it automatically, and so after I figured out how to do that, I found it to be much easier, so it's not that much of a hassle anymore.
Yeah. YouTube Gaming also offers 60 frames per second streaming and viewing, which is not offered on Twitch, I don't think. Actually, it might be there for people that are partnered.
Yeah, I think that's the case.
Yeah.
Because I know if you're partnered, you get access to higher resolutions and frame rates and stuff like that. So, yeah, they offer it, but just to a limited number of people.
Yeah, whereas YouTube Gaming, it's everyone. And it's actually expected to come to the PlayStation 4's built-in streaming capabilities that you can stream in 60 frames per second in the next firmware update, which will be really cool. Not that I use those that much, but...
Yeah, you have your own...
Yeah. Except I can't use 60 frames per second on my thing without going down to 720p.
Oh, yeah, you have an older model.
Yes, I do. Yeah. I guess we will talk about the UI now, because I know that's something that me and Nick are really big on. I'm with Nick in that I don't like the homepage.
I will say I do like their logo.
Yes, it's a very nice logo.
I do like their logo, but yeah, their homepage and kind of their just general browsing stuff with the... It's because they have like the main content in, the center, that they got that right. But there's these weird tabs on both sides.
Yeah.
That is, like, one side is for, I think, just games, like trending games and popular games and stuff like that. The other side are the channels that you're following or suggested channels to follow. And they whenever you go to them, they just kind of pop out and go back away when you're not looking, when you don't need them. But just them constantly being this transparent thing on the sides, I am not a big fan of.
I don't like 3-column layouts at all. I'm like firmly in the one sidebar center content. Like, I don't like having like, here's my left menu and here's my right menu. For some reason my brain just doesn't work like that, and that kind of makes me hate every landing page of every website these days. So like, it wasn't a surprise for me or a disappointment for me when I went to gaming.youtube.com and said, I don't like this. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I feel overwhelmed by content, because I feel like that on every website that I go on.
The one thing better than Twitch, at least, is that they have, like Twitch, they have a featured thing being played on their homepage.
But it doesn't autoplay like Twitch. Or it autoplays, but without sound.
Yeah, and that's like, thank you for that.
I can't believe Twitch still has that. Like, I feel like so many people complain about that, and yet they have it, and it's like such a little thing to change. Turn off autoplay. Done.
It's just a really weird admission, but in general, the streaming, the featured channel or whatever I think it's done in a better way than what Twitch does. But yeah, you're right. When going on the homepage, you're kind of overwhelmed with kind of everything.
Yeah.
Since I went on it first without importing any of my channels or anything else that I followed, and it just it just fills it up with random stuff that, like, hey, this is popular, maybe you'll like this. But after importing it, it's a bit better, because they first show like just stuff from, hey, here's the newest stuff from the channels you follow. And then it scrolls down. If you scroll down and everything, it starts getting into more like, hey, here's stuff that's live that you may be interested in, or here's spotlight stuff like, hey, these are videos you might like. But I've never found stuff like that to be useful. Yeah. Like, it's always been regular YouTube's like landing page is similar, and I have never used that in my life. You go to YouTube and then you just start searching, or you can even take out a step and just set up your browser to like immediately search on YouTube and bypass the homepage altogether, which is what I do. So like, again, it's not a huge disappointment or surprise for me to not like the landing page of YouTube Gaming. I did find it amusing that they went with the dark theme for it. Yeah, that was something. That was something I noticed. It's like, that's okay. I like it better.
In a way, it's a little unexpected because, like, big websites rarely go for dark themes, but I love the, like, correlation in people's heads of, like, okay, we're making a gaming service, so it has to be dark. And, you know, we've done studies, literally, on KHV to see if people prefer, like, light or dark themes, and it always comes out dark themes. And I don't know where that comes from. It amused me that they went that way.
And actually, because we're talking about this right now, I'm installing the YouTube gaming app on my phone just to check how that is.
Right, yeah, it does have an app.
But I want to see how it performs on there. So we'll get back to that when that finishes installing. But yeah, the general
Live
UI...
impressions of the YouTube gaming app.
Yes.
See, that's the problem I had with it, actually, was that you couldn't get to it, like, with the YouTube app. You needed a different app for it, and so I couldn't view the stream chat on my phone. I had to keep going in and out of game to see what people were saying to me. And then I looked it up because it said, oh, you have the app on it, and it's not available for my generation of iPhone, and I'm not sure why, but it said it's not ready for that yet, and I was just like,
I know there are some people where that app wasn't like, hey, this is only available in this country at the moment, so check back later, and maybe it'll be compatible in your region of...
I mean, it is a very new service. It only launched on the 26th, so, you know,
it's
these
kind of
things
a
might be...
launch, too. It's like, hey, because, I mean, they've been talking about it, obviously.
Yeah.
But then they suddenly said, hey, it's coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, like it's here.
Oh, okay.
And we're all just like, oh, okay. Like, we were ready for this, but just like, okay, it's here.
It was kind of weird how they decided to release this thing. And they said it's only available... Well, I don't know how true this was in, you know, actuality, but they said it was just going to be a soft launch in one region. And they're gonna roll it out to the rest of the world as time goes on. But from what I've been understanding, like, that really wasn't the case. Like, people from, like, Europe and everything were like, oh yeah, we were able to access it just fine and
maybe
do stuff.
They just meant, like, the English-speaking region of the world.
Maybe.
Which is everywhere. So, I don't know. Yeah, so, of course, in introducing a competitor to Twitch, there's that question of, like, how is it competing with Twitch? I mean, you know, like we've said, it does have a better player, and it does offer, you know, like, 60 frames per second to everyone. I don't know personally, because I haven't streamed, but I'm guessing that the lag is probably better than Twitch, because I can't imagine lag that is worse than Twitch.
I think it is. I mean, I was watching it from... I wasn't watching it the whole time because obviously I was streaming, but it did look like it was, it's like if you were watching a YouTube video and it wasn't really laggy or like really crap quality. It would just be, it would have been just been like if you were watching a, 1080p or, video. So it was all right. It was good.
Okay.
From what I've been hearing from other people, the chat is still kind of really far behind the video content, which, I mean, on some level that's just kind of expected, because when you're streaming something, it's not exactly instantaneous. But yeah, I'm not sure because I haven't streamed on the game itself yet. I mean, on the site itself yet.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, that's something I'm really excited to find out for myself, because when I have streamed before in the past, which isn't often, but when I have streamed before in the past, what I like to do is have, like, a couple of people in a Skype call with me and have them, like, watch what I'm playing and, like, talk about it with me, because I don't like sitting there and talking to myself.
Yeah, that just seems like a weird thing. Like, and plus if you're starting out, it's always, if you have somebody to talk to, it's much
easier. Obviously, if you're, like, an experienced streamer and everything, then you can carry out a conversation. You have people in your chat.
Streamer.
Yeah. You have people in your chat that you can interact with and everything, but when it's just like me sitting alone being like, okay, I'm going to equip my broadsword, like it's weird for me. So I like to have like people in my Skype chat with me, and obviously they have to watch my stream like as it's happening, and the lag on Twitch was intense when I've tried it. Like, I'm not expecting it to be like, like immediately when I do something on my screen, they get it on the stream. That's just an unreasonable expectation at this point. But, like, if they could just cut it in half even from what Twitch is doing, that would be a huge improvement.
Yeah, because I remember you were streaming, I think you were streaming the Destiny beta or something like that.
Yeah, I did stream that.
You were confused on where to go, and I told you, like, hey, go down the stairs, but by the time that happened, you were like, on the other side of the on the other side of the map. But yeah, like this isn't necessarily for streaming or a streaming service or anything like that. But when I've tried PlayStation SharePlay with Cassie, and that was pretty damn instantaneous in terms of. I mean, obviously, you aren't broadcasting to people in that situation, but for a situation like what Cassie was talking about, like having somebody in a chat, like it would be really great if it was something close to that, because that was pretty great on how like I did something, or you were actually playing and I was just watching it, but you did something on there and happened kind of just instantaneously on my end, and you're actually able to hold a conversation regarding like stuff going on the screen without this weird lag making everything more complicated than it should. Yeah,
so I'm not expecting like Twitch or YouTube gaming to like eliminate that problem immediately, but it is something that I would like to see them work towards. And probably the best thing about YouTube gaming launching, whether you like it or not, whether you intend to move over to it or not, is that it's giving Twitch a competitor, which Twitch has not really had. I mean, obviously there are other streaming sites out there, and Hitbox, I guess, is the only other one out there, but Hitbox isn't big. But for Twitch to have a big competitor, I think it will finally compel Twitch to make some of the changes that people have been asking for so long.
Yeah, I hope that's the case.
I really hope so too, because Twitch just, it feels like I'm visiting a website from like 2012. And obviously, you know, like in time
3 years ago.
Yeah, obviously in time that sounds like completely ungrateful of me to say, but in tech that's huge.
Yeah, it is kind of it does feel dated in quite a few ways.
Yeah, it's also very hard to navigate. You know, as much as we're like saying like we're kind of on YouTube Gaming's UI, I don't like Twitch's that much either. I think that their front page is all right, but like if you try changing your settings and it's hard. It's like unnecessarily difficult.
The one thing, talking about UI real quick for gaming, YouTube Gaming. I always want to say Gaming YouTube because that's the URL, but it's YouTube Gaming.
Yeah.
But like their game pages, I think, need a bit of work in terms of like I just clicked on Life is Strange because apparently that is a trending game right now. And when I'm taken to its page, I am just seeing basically a video game screenshot that takes up the entire page, and I have to scroll down below that for it to get to the like, hey, here is, you know, the content or like here's even like the about, explore, you know, live things for that game. But it's like it makes no sense to have just the entire screen, just this one screenshot, and you can't really do anything with it.
See, I'm gonna disagree with that because that is sort of a trend in web design.
I know
right
it is,
now.
but
like you see it a lot in
like
blogs.
That trend.
Okay, well that's like a personal thing then. You know,
but
just
like I mean, I would be okay with it if it was like maybe half the length.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Because
it's just like it's an unnecessary.
Like I understand
scroll.
that trend, and like I shouldn't say I hate that trend entirely because I use it sometimes, but like not the trend of having it take up the entire page where there is no content whatsoever for you to even interact with until you scroll down a bit, because there's like I don't know, I just think it's way too much.
Okay.
In terms of what they're doing, like as I said, if it was like maybe half the length, where you can still at least see the top of the if you saw the links for the game, like for the about, the explore, the live, and all that other stuff, if you can at least see that when you're taken to the page itself, then it wouldn't be that bad. But the fact that you have to scroll down in order to get the stuff that you want, just it seems it's adding unnecessary steps in order to get what you want to see.
Yeah, I understand that. And from a UI perspective, like design, it usually looks pretty, but as like a user interface perspective, I agree it is a usability thing that they should address. Or you can just address it yourself if you know how to write user styles for websites, which is what I do a lot of the time.
It's a sickness because I do that too.
Yeah, I do too. Another feature that I really like on YouTube Gaming is that they have kind of a DVR functionality when you're watching the stream. You can rewind the stream and obviously pause the stream, and you can, like, let's say you rewind to like 30 minutes back, you can watch the stream at a higher speed, which I really, really like, because like when you're watching an event like E3, and let's say you come in the middle of a conference and you want to catch up, but you don't want to be forever half an hour behind everyone else, that's a really nice feature to have, I think. And like speaking as when I edit the podcasts, I have to listen back through everything, and it takes time, and I don't like that.
Yes, as somebody who also edits podcasts.
Yeah. So,
but yeah,
when I edit them back, I listen to them at 1.5 speed, usually around there. Sometimes I go higher if I can bear it, but I really like that feature, so I do plan to use that. I guess the biggest question, though, is just that, will people move over from Twitch? Because if you're a little streamer, then it's a lot easier to maybe start on YouTube Gaming and maybe actually take advantage of the launch.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I would say if you're thinking about getting into streaming or you've just started streaming, I'd say...
Now is a good time
good time to just go on YouTube, because there are so many people who are either new or they aren't really using it because, all the big names are on Twitch and they don't want to move. Going on YouTube now is a great time because even if you're a nobody, people are just checking out the service, and you may find yourself like, oh, there's like 200 people watching this stream right now, just because they're just, checking everything out, and that could sometimes turn into subscribers and, all that fun stuff that ends up happening.
Yeah, so that is good, but then on the flip side of that, if you're an established Twitch streamer, if you're partnered with Twitch, if you're making revenue off Twitch, if you have an audience on Twitch, it's harder. I do know of some people that are making a jump, but it is a select few. And we'll have to see, what Google chooses to offer to big streamers in terms of ad revenue, and whether it's comparable to Twitch, if it's more than Twitch. I don't know much about when you're partnering with Twitch, how much you're making in terms of views, but that of course, a lot of people are making their livelihood off of this, so that's a big question.
Something I'm already seeing that will help at least people that are deciding to use the service is that when you import all of your all of the people that you watch, whoever's live will be first. So say that somebody has unfortunately forgotten about me because I haven't uploaded very much lately, but then they see my logo when I'm streaming, and they can be like, oh hey, I remember that channel, Cal's alive, I didn't know that, and then they can go check that out. Whereas Twitch, you kind of have, if you've been using it, you're digging for people, but if you're already subscribed to somebody on YouTube, it's easier, right? So, yes. That's what I noticed with it, and I'm like, I can take advantage of this now. Since, people will, unless there are, a lot of people that are streaming in your subscriber list, you will possibly see me first. And I'm just like, yes, all right. Because on Twitch, you gotta kind of advertise to people if they're not already subscribed to you, but if they're just checking out the service, then it's much easier. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, the one thing I do have to say regarding the differences between Twitch and YouTube gaming is that Google, you have to be aware of the entire Google Content ID thing with YouTube.
Right.
So it just from experience and seeing how other people talk about it, it seems that YouTube in general is a bit more strict about that sort of thing. So there's been cases where there's been people streaming on YouTube gaming, and they've been talking about my stream got content ID'd and I can't make any revenue off of that. It's even blocked in certain countries now. Mm. So that is another thing you have to keep in mind, depending on just a variety of things, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But it does seem like Google is a bit more stringent with their copyright thing, which given that this is technically part of YouTube, that makes sense, because YouTube is just this huge monster of a service now.
Yeah. And that's just a whole separate issue of how copyright laws are so behind internet and where the internet is. I know of people that when they stream, they like to have music playing in the background, and not the game's music, but other music, the music that they choose. And that is a situation in which you would probably get a content ID match. And it's a question of why, I guess, artists should be making money if their music is being used, but it's such a common thing, and today we don't think that much about it, that copyright laws should maybe be revised to reflect that.
But yeah, as you said, that is an entirely separate issue to kind of this entire thing, but that
it's
is
something you should consider, yeah.
Yeah, just, chances are, depending on what you're streaming, chances are it doesn't really matter, especially if you aren't streaming music or anything.
Yeah.
And most video game companies, I should say, are, they embrace streaming.
They have to.
hell, 2 out of the 3 current gen consoles have streaming built right into them. So that's usually not a problem, but yeah, that is something you probably have to think about, at least on some level, when you're choosing between the 2 services, I suppose. I mean, then again, you could also be one of those people who just decide to stream to both at the same time if your computer can handle it. Or
yeah, that is the ideal situation, really, but, money prevents that, internet speed prevents that. I think that maybe the other big way that YouTube can kind of get a leg up on Twitch is event coverage. And I imagine that they cover the big gaming events. That is a big thing, because Twitch, I never think in my head, like, oh, a gaming event is going on, let me go to Twitch. I think, like, let me go to, like, Game Trailers or Giant Bomb or something. So if YouTube Gaming is providing solid event coverage, like I feel that they did for E3, that is another big way that they can overtake Twitch, I think.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, because, Twitch does stuff, obviously. Like, this E3, like, YouTube had their thing, but, a lot of people, a lot of companies were explicitly using Twitch to host their own stuff. Like, it was like Twitch/Ubisoft or EA's Twitch channel or whatever. And yeah, you're right, if they could provide better coverage with it, especially because my memory may be failing me, but didn't Jeff Keighley host
he hosted
the
E3
YouTube stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, like, if they do stuff like that more, like, yeah, of course. Like, if they have Jeff Keighley back for, like, the Video Game Awards and they does another hosting thing on YouTube with that, then yeah, sure. But yeah, if they can do more with that, that'd probably be if they do a better job with that than what Twitch has been doing, then that'd probably be another little, I guess, plus mark on them.
Yeah. My big nagging complaint, though, and this extends to regular YouTube too, is that you're trapped in the Google ecosystem.
Yeah.
When you go to log in, it asks you to log in with your Google account, and
they've actually stopped that.
Yes,
recently.
they are going to start separating the services and, like, saying, like, okay, if you have a YouTube account, you don't have to have a Google Plus account now.
I mean, my YouTube account is technically attached to my Google account.
Yeah.
But I've never, like, completely joined them.
Yeah.
So I just have a plain YouTube account that doesn't have access to anything else still.
Yeah.
Because I joined YouTube in 2006.
Yeah.
Which, that's a really long time ago, but
yeah,
it's
but like if you go to register a new YouTube account, you're like hit with all this like Google Plus thing and Google thing, and like you have to have a fresh new Google account, and I hate that because I have a ton of Gmail emails,
Yes.
but it's hard to keep track of all of them. It would be nice if I could start a YouTube account and just like make a username and have that. That's another thing that they want you to put in,
just
like
have
a
all
full
those
name.
emails, just forward their emails to your main email account,
or just use a email clients and have it all in one place, which is what I do. But it's just it's a big frustration that everybody, and especially gamers, have had with YouTube in the last couple of years, that you're trapped in that Google ecosystem. And like, if you don't want to have a million Google accounts, then you're kind of forced to have your gaming stuff on your regular Google account. So, like, I use my Google account for, like, work emails and sending out, like, work resumes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to see that I liked a video from, like, Lollipop Chainsaw or something.
Yeah. I mean, I run into the same situation. I've at least got it to the point where I basically have 2 different accounts.
Yeah.
But
it's just a pain in the ass to set that up, and it's a pain in the ass to switch between them too, because like, let's say you want to check your email on your like professional Google account, and then you want to watch some YouTube videos, you have to log out, then log back in, and it's just this
I've gotten
process.
a mistake because I actually forward some stuff to my different email addresses, so I've gotten into situations where I'm replying to an email with the wrong email accounts. I'm like, whoops.
Yeah.
Well, they know who I am. I'm including like the entire body of the previous email in this, so I know they know who I am, but it's still like, well, I didn't mean to use this email account for this, but oh well.
It's confusing too, because sometimes when I try to log in to my YouTube account, I type in my email, it's like, would you like to use YouTube as like Cassie, or would you like to use it as like your email at gmail.com? And I'm just like, what's the difference? I don't understand. It's so confusing. They need to fix that.
See, the other trick is just have different browsers logged in with different email addresses.
That's such a I know that is not something that I should have to be doing.
I know. I'm just
yeah, I know.
I'm
You're
trying to provide a
facetious.
solution to the problem as it is currently standing.
Yeah.
But it is having all these weird multiple Google accounts just connected to everything is a hassle.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, I think that I will be using YouTube Gaming a lot in the future. I never got into Twitch. I never liked Twitch that much. You know, of course you use Twitch because it's the streaming site, but I'm glad that it has a competitor, and I think that YouTube Gaming has a lot of pros over Twitch for me right now. So I think that YouTube Gaming might become my go-to.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Does the PS4 stream to YouTube? I know you can upload to YouTube.
I don't think so, but I'm guessing that now that YouTube Gaming is, they might have just said to themselves, like, we'll just wait until YouTube Gaming is out to set this up.
Yeah, that could be the case. But yeah, I mean, I don't stream all that often either. Mostly because I don't really have games that I think would be stream friendly. Like lately I've been playing a lot of just kind of smallish little games, like stuff like Resogun and like, I don't know, like Rocket League. Actually, Rocket League would probably be good because that seems to be having a huge Twitch following nowadays. But yeah, like I'm tempted to at least try out the YouTube Gaming stuff because I mean I'm not thrilled with Twitch. I've used Twitch before, and so I'm not opposed to trying out another service. So whenever I stream again, who knows when that'll be, but I'll probably try it out.
From a viewing perspective, if you sat down one day and were like, I feel like watching some live streams, would you go to Twitch or would you go to YouTube Gaming now?
I may go to YouTube Gaming because I don't watch a lot of live streams in general. Mm-hmm. The few that I have, it's been because this one particular user uses Twitch exclusively. So, okay. And I don't know if he even wants to switch over or whatever.
Okay.
But a lot of the streaming content I consume comes from Giant Bomb, and they have their own they have their own setup thing where you go to their site and they have a chat and all this other stuff, and like that's kind of how I consume my stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll pose the same question to Cal then too, and she streams more than us, so you can give us a better perspective on this.
I mean, I never really got into Twitch, and it seems like, from what I can tell, the people that I have watched streams, like, I think I've watched a couple of Kingdom Hearts YouTubers that have used Twitch for streaming. I think that they've moved over now, too, just because they can, and I mean, I'd probably just use YouTube Gaming instead, because, I mean, it's already there, and it's much easier for me to get into just because everybody that I've subscribed to is already there anyway, so I don't see a point in having to like either go back and forth or just using one. I mean, it is okay for me since again everybody's already there that I want to watch. So
I will say though, the one thing that I just remember this, that I did watch on Twitch quite a bit was the SDGQ awesome Summer Games Done Quick, and then its counterpart, Awesome Games Done Quick. And I mean, I mean, I just watched them because that's just where they hosted it. So if they hosted it anywhere else, I would probably watch it wherever. But
I'm interested to see if they move Twitch Plays Pokemon and like all of those similar things over to YouTube Gaming, if they do similar stuff there, because that was like one of my favorite things to ever happen.
By the way, checking in with the YouTube Gaming app, it looks exactly like the most recent YouTube app.
Okay.
Like, down to, like, even the bars at the top, except instead of, like, filtering it out on the different, categories within YouTube, it just says games, and then channels, and then the home.
That's not altogether surprising, though. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Yeah, it will be an adjustment, though, like...
And I think my phone crashed.
It will be an adjustment for me, like... Because, if I want to watch a game video, instead of going to youtube.com, typing in gaming.youtube.com, I feel like that's going to take me a while.
I don't know how I feel about the URL. Like, it makes sense
that
it is that, but I don't know.
it's like such a tiny thing to nitpick, but I'm with you that like subdomains are not used that much these days anymore. So like going that way is weird. Part of me expected them to do like youtube.com/gaming, but even that would be weird too. I wanted them to give this its own name and do it as like a separate thing. I don't know why it had to be trapped under that YouTube banner, and I've never liked the name YouTube, so that might be part of it too.
It's like you on a tube.
At this point, it's just so ubiquitous that like you don't even think about it anymore. But I wanted it to have like its own name. I don't know why. I wanted it to be like...
Yeah, no, I can get where you're coming from. I mean, even Twitch is its own name, because that spawned off of Justin TV, which that doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah, and like you don't see it now turning into like gaming.amazon.com. It's still going to be twitch.tv, and that is because it's already established. But I don't know, if they called it something, that I think I would like that, but they didn't. They went with gaming.youtube.com, and there's a reason for that, of course, because, you know, people that maybe are not as internet savvy or gaming savvy, people are just getting into this, they see YouTube and they think, oh, okay, this is legit, this is fine, this is like a website that I'm familiar with, and that's what they're going for, that they have that established user base and that notoriety already. But yeah, I wanted it to be something else.
The weird thing is, if you go to just youtube.com, for the first 2 or 3 days when the thing launched, they had, you know, a link to like, hey, here's, you know, the gaming thing. But now looking at it, there's no mention of it anywhere. Really? Because that's something I was going to ask, if they were eventually going to redirect their gaming stuff over to gaming.youtube.com. Like, I decided to look at it just now, and like, there's no... Because I remember the little logo was up near the regular YouTube logo when the thing was launching. And now that's gone, and I don't see like anywhere where it could direct me to gaming.youtube, which seems kind of weird. Yeah, I agree. I could see them adding like a little box that pops up like, oh, it looks like you're watching gaming stuff. Why not switch to gaming YouTube? Let's just do that. Let me just open up a gaming video right now. Nope, it's just regular old YouTube. Okay, all right. Yeah, so that's kind of weird. Yeah, it's just like a switch that you're going to have to make. It's an adjustment you're going to have to make. And like, maybe it's not that big for some people, but for somebody that's been on YouTube since like 2005, it's... The dawn of YouTube. Yeah, the dawn of YouTube. It's an adjustment. Yeah, so we'll see where it goes, honestly. I mean, it's only been out for a couple days, but it is something to keep an eye on, and we do kind of cover, like, Let's Plays and streaming a little bit on this podcast, because it's such a big part of the gaming industry now that I'm sure we'll be talking about it again in the future, and maybe we'll be streaming to it in the future if our podcast streaming plans ever pan out. Maybe when you get a new computer. Yeah, hopefully that will be happening soon. We'll see how my finances align. Yeah, so that is YouTube gaming, so definitely do let us know if you've streamed on it, if you've watched with it, what your experiences with it are, and maybe whether or not you're going to be making the switch full-time from Twitch to YouTube gaming if you're a big streamer in that case. A streamer. Yeah. Yeah, so that brings us to our user-submitted questions. To submit a question to the KH-Vids Podcast, all you have to do is fill out the form link to that episode of the podcast, or send an email to podcast@KH-Vids.Net. The questions can be directed towards the host in particular, or the group in general. So before we get into the questions, we have with us Stardust. She joined us midway through to answer user-submitted questions with us. Questions. So yeah, welcome to her. Yay. Welcome to
Hi, yay.
Yeah, okay. So we're really organized this week. Yep. So first question comes from Tailwind, and he asks, what's a game you've tried to get into but couldn't?
There's quite a few of those, to be quite honest.
There's a lot.
Yeah, like, I can't get into Zelda games. I've tried...
They're so hard. They're so difficult.
It's not so much that they're difficult, it's just they never grabbed me in a compelling way. Like, I've tried Ocarina of Time, which, you know, everybody always recommends Ocarina of Time. And, like, I played that for a while, and I was like, it's okay.
That's okay.
I do have to say, I do want to try Majora's Mask, though.
I do, but just because of the creepypasta.
Yeah, I mean, I want to try for the sole just aesthetic of that entire game. And maybe that will draw me in better than kind of what Ocarina of Time did. Or I've also tried Twilight Princess. I wasn't too thrilled with that as well. Like, I don't know. I just, like, they're not bad games or anything. It's just, like, I just can't get into them for whatever reason. Another one is sort of just 2D fighters in general.
No, I hate 2D fighters.
I've gotten better with it. Like, I've been playing because I'm oddly excited for Street Fighter V, which is weird because I've never been a huge Street Fighter fan. I think watching a few Evos have like changed me into being just hyped for watching high level play of that game.
I was actually I was at Six Flags yesterday and they had Street Fighter like demo tents.
Yes,
was so
they do.
Weird.
Like I remember reading about this. Like certain Six Flags will only get it, for an X amount of time, but the Six Flags near me has it for the entire like duration of the thing, and I'm like, I almost want to go to Six Flags just to try that out. And also a bunch of roller coasters.
To go to Six Flags, yeah.
Yes, but I've always tried doing 2D fighters. I've just never found them all that exciting. I remember first trying Street Fighter 4 a few years ago, and I thought it was like, okay, this is okay, but it's just not my thing. And I've been trying to get back into it more recently because of the last Evo as well as the Street Fighter 5 stuff happening, and I'm getting more used to it, and I'm like sort of enjoying what I'm doing, and I kind of know more what I'm doing and all that other stuff, but it's still.
I've never liked them either. I cut my teeth on Soul Calibur 2, so I can't get over the 8-way run system.
Like for me the fighting game for me was always Tekken, and I'm still probably the fighting game for me because I still really love Tekken, and I played Soul Calibur obviously, and I enjoy that as well. It's just there's something about 2D fighters where that's like the de facto type of fighting game you make. But I just can never really get too much into it. But yeah, that's kind of it. I've tried a few driving games, like simulation driving games as well, and they're okay, but they're no Burnout. So, if you can't compare to Burnout, then I'm not that interested.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
Well, basically, anything. I have a whole playlist on my channel full of games that I did Let's Plays on, and they were never touched again. And it's really bad. I have a bad habit of starting things, but then it's just, they're too hard, and I get bored, and then they just kind of waste away. And even with, that was a problem with Kingdom Hearts for a while, but I was like 6 years old and didn't know how to do anything, so I don't know, I won't hold it against myself. But like Assassin's Creed, I tried. I couldn't after a certain point because I don't know, I couldn't. Dishonored, Al got me that for my birthday, I think last year, or maybe it was the year before, I don't know, but I couldn't get into that either. And I feel so bad when people buy me games and I want to talk about it with them because obviously they've given me something that they'll think I'll like, and I'm just like, I can't do that. I can't be like, I'm sorry, but I didn't like this game that you got me. It just
at least you gave it a chance.
Okay, see, Nick, this is not comparable because the question is games you've tried but couldn't get into. I haven't tried with the games you've given me, but not out of anything like personal, like I don't want to play Shadow of the Colossus, just like there are other things.
I think I'm like 1 for 2 with you because you did play, and as far as I can tell, you've enjoyed The Last of Us.
Oh yeah, I just replayed it with my boyfriend. So.
But yeah, no, I know. I'm trying to make you be how you are right now.
Yeah, I'm like Cal. I have that disease where like you play a game a little bit and then you just like forget about it and move on to something else. I have so many half-finished games, it's absurd. But yeah, Assassin's Creed, I cannot get into it and I never will. I tried playing the first one and I was bored out of my mind, and then like everything that's surrounding that series, I cannot and I will not. I feel like there was a game that I was, like, spite avoiding. Oh, the Old Republic.
Haven't you actually tried that?
Yes, I have actually tried the Old Republic. I tried it a long time ago before this was the first MMO I had ever played. And so part of my dislike for it was just that, like, MMOs are this whole, like, diverse branch of gaming that you really need to kind of do your research on, really. It's hard to pick up an MMO if you don't know anything about them. So part of it was just that I was responding to that, and also, I have problems with that game because of.
We're not gonna talk about this at length because we have a KOTOR podcast we'll probably eventually do, but like, I texted Cassie not that long ago because I found out something about the Shadows of Revan expansion for that game. And, oh my god. Like,
that game. Just the Old Republic.
Yeah,
So I've tried the Old Republic and I cannot get into
so
it.
Speaking of MMOs, though, Final Fantasy XIV.
I miss it every day. I miss it so much.
They recently put out a thing for their anniversary. And it's like this weird, like, it's like this entire quest line, but at the end of the quest line, you're in this room that just has a bunch of, like, you know, like, in-game jokes and, like, other artwork and stuff like this. It ends with a character named Yoshida talking to you about, like, here, I'm just gonna read the very first thing he says. As I'm sure you know, our beloved star once faded as ruinous fate. It was a fate born of arrogance and pride and vanity. The fate we brought upon ourselves.
I love him.
So he goes, he's obviously, this is a double thing because they're talking about the calamity that happened in-game, but he's also talking about kind of the entire development thing for A Realm Reborn. So this entire little thing he's doing is talking about just, like, thanking the fans and telling them, like, hey, we still have a lot to do, and we still want to do a lot, and we appreciate you talking to us. And, like, it was really great. Like,
Yoshi P is the Messiah, honestly.
Yeah, here's him ending. It is our fondest hope that your adventures in Eorzea will be a constant source of joy and wonder. May you ever walk in the light of the crystal.
I love him.
Like,
I miss it so much.
Not only is the character name, it looks like him as well, and he's, like, dressed up in a machinist outfit, which is new for the expansion pack that came out. But, like, it is. I'm kind of, because I recently finally canceled my subscription about a month or two ago, and I'm starting to miss it, especially when I'm missing stuff like this, when it's just this anniversary event and you're going through these halls of just a bunch of in-game jokes and artwork and just. It's a great MMO.
I've been missing it a lot recently because I went back through a lot of my old tweets and I found the ones from when the beta first started, and, like, I fell in love immediately with the game and just went crazy, so I really miss it. But Lexi, games that you have tried but you cannot get into.
I have a few, like, actually, speaking of Final Fantasy, I could never, I feel like that's gonna rustle some feathers, but I could never get into Final Fantasy just because I can't do, well, anything with, like, turn-based combat is, like, not my thing. Most of the time. I guess it depends, but, like, I tried 12, which isn't even, like, turn-based, really. Yeah. It's just, like,
12 is weird because you, at a
12 is
certain
an
point
MMO.
in the, yeah, and at a certain point in the game, like, you kind of just set up the gameplay to do it, and you just sit there and watch.
You sometimes have to do that, though, because I remember that.
Oh yeah, you absolutely do need to set up your, what are they called, gambits? But, like, if you spend enough time on it, you can set it up to play the game for you.
Yeah, because, I mean, like, you could obviously take it the traditional route of, like, okay, I'm going to personally control each of these players.
Yeah. And,
you know, do stuff. But for stuff like that Yazimut fight, where he has, like, 5 million health, and you don't want to sit around playing this for 5 hours. It's like a literal MMO, like, raid. And you don't want to do that, so you set up the gambits, and they take care of it for you. You go out with your day, you come back, hopefully you haven't died. And it's just, yeah, 12 is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the problem with me for 12 was, like, obviously not turn-based, so, like, that wasn't the problem, but it would, like, you'd have to have that recharge period between attacks, and I would just, like, be like, I want to like, be able to, I hate that there's something attacking me and I can't move, and I'm just, like, mashing these buttons. Anyway, I got lost.
Was there a recharge period? It's been a long time since I played 12.
I think I know it's been a long time for me too. I know there are recharges on, like, spells and attacks and stuff. I think you could. I don't know. It's been a while since. Hopefully that HD remaster is coming soon.
Yeah.
But so I tried that one. I tried 10. And I tried
10 is awful. Don't even bother.
I wanted to get into it really bad, maybe someday. And then I tried 8, and
that's even worse. I'm joking. Most Final Fantasy games are pretty good games.
10 is my favorite game of all time, so, like, biased. But, the thing that I tell people about 10 is, because, I've tried to make a lot of people play 10, and they say the same thing as you, like, I don't like turn-based combat, and all I really can say to them is that 10 is pure turn-based combat. Like, it's not like Final Fantasy 12 where it's kind of in the middle, or Final Fantasy 13 where, again, it's, like, kind of in the middle. It is pure turn-based combat, but I just say to them, like, the story is worth it, everything else is worth it, that if you don't like turn-based combat, just sit through it because it's worth it.
I actually enjoy 10. And
I actually I don't mind turn-based combat,
I don't either,
so.
But, like, it was weird because I've always thought of 10 as something I sort of liked. And
I love 10.
I mean, the first time I played 10 was in 2002 or 2003, and I don't know how old I was young. But recently replaying it when it got released on the PS3, it made me like, oh, I like this game more than I realized I liked it. But yeah, 10, that's my little side note for 10.
I mean, I guess I could side with Lexi and say, like, I couldn't get into Final Fantasy 12 because of the grind fest that it is. Like, it was such a chore for me playing it, and the dumb reason, but the true reason also, is that it didn't have a romance subplot, and I like romance subplots, so yeah. But go on, Lexi. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting.
It's fine. The only other thing is, like, I tried Professor Layton, like, back when Professor Layton versus Ace Attorney, or I don't know what the English title ended up being. It was, but back when that was coming out, like, in Japan or something, it was like 2012. I was like, I should try, like, Professor Layton, and I got not far at all before I stopped. And I felt kind of bad, but, like, I would just get really frustrated if I, like, couldn't figure out a puzzle, and then it would, like, start giving me hints like I'm dumb, and
That's not crazy, because I can't really play puzzle games because I start feeling bad about myself. Like, I guess it's just that my mind does not work for certain puzzle games, but that's why I can't play a lot of Legend of Zelda games, because there are a lot of puzzles, and I'm just like, I don't have the patience for this.
Don't you have Portal?
I have it.
I mean, I really like Portal, but it's like a different kind of.
Yeah, that's more of a spatial, like.
Yeah.
That's not these obtuse puzzle things that you have to figure out. It's like, hey, how can I get out of the space, please?
That's something weird about Tomb Raider, though, that, like, obviously with the Tomb Raider reboot, a lot of people are complaining, like, there weren't any, like, tombs or puzzles that I had to solve. There's, like, one or two. and I was just like, that. I am perfectly okay with this. And so now, like, them saying with the new Tomb Raider game that's coming out, and you guys know I have a lot of feelings attached to that, but with the new Tomb Raider game that's coming out, they're like, there are more tombs now. And I'm just like, I'm not a puzzle person. Unless it's Flow, but that's...
Flow.
I have 2 puzzles left.
Wow.
2 left.
I don't think I started on, like, the jumbo one.
That's where the 2 are that I'm stuck. The jumbo pack. It's hard.
I finished everything else, and once I got to the jumbo, I'm like, I don't know if I want to continue.
Jumbo pack is torture. I want to kill everyone.
Like, I mean, it's meant to be played on, like, an iPad-sized screen for one thing.
Meant to be.
Yes, meant.
Yeah.
They allow it for some reason. They're crazy.
Yeah. Any other games that you guys haven't been able to get into? No. Okay. Go ahead.
The only other one I have would be Eco. I got pretty far, I feel like, actually, and I was doing pretty well, and then I got stuck somewhere. And then it was just like that. It was the end for me. But that's about it.
Wait, Eco? Are you talking about the,
like the Shadow of the Colossus.
Okay, I'm always weirded out by, because some people say Eco, some people say Ico, and it's just it's weird.
I used to say ICO until I think I said it on a podcast, and Nick was like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
No, because when I hear Eco, now that I think about it, whenever I hear Eco, I think of Jak and Daxter.
Oh, that's true.
But
yeah, something occurred to me. A game. Oh, Final Fantasy 13. I mean, you guys know also that I have weird things surrounding that too, but I got to the end of chapter 11 of Final Fantasy 13, and they're
when the game begins.
Yeah. So like I kind of got to the end of that, and I'm about to move into like now the end game segment of it, and I stopped there because I was just like I kind of feel done with this.
Yeah. Like this has nothing to do with not getting into a game, but I did that. I have that with Mega Man 2, where I'm on like the last area of Wily's castle, and I don't know why, but I've just never finished the game despite having a save right there. I just need to go like maybe 1 or 2 more level type things. Just nope.
Well, like we've talked about this before, and it's like you're just stuck at the worst. Like it is the worst part of the game. It is awful.
Yeah, I'm just.
So I don't blame you.
I'm like, no, I still have it on my Vita. It's just waiting to be played in its weird Japanese PS1 only glory. But like, I don't know. Like, this has nothing to me not getting into the game, because obviously I actually do enjoy the game. But it's just, I'm so close to the end, but I'm not sure if I'll ever see the end.
No. Okay. Next question comes from Graxy, and he asks, Mr. Monkey is sitting at the edge of a nearby lake and invites you to join him in skipping rocks. Do you sing or throw a rock at him?
Why do I have to throw a rock at him?
In keeping with the tradition of Graxy questions, this is, I'm pretty sure, complete nonsense.
I threw shells today. Does that count for something?
He capitalized Mr. Monkey? So, is that like a thing?
I don't know.
Is this? I'm Googling it right now, so... Mr.
There's a song called Hello, Mr. Monkey.
Arabesque? Hello, Mr. Monkey.
Album I. Or is that a 1? I can't tell.
Hello, Mr. Monkey. You're still so fast and funky.
This sounds like a song I should listen to.
Yeah, why are these lyrics on some, like, rando...
Are they not even on... They aren't even...
sites?
Like, they aren't even, like, lyrics.com?
No, they're on, like, sandrakretu.naro.ru. What the hell?
Wait, what is this?
I don't...
This is a Mr. Monkey in Final Fantasy VIII.
Okay, here we go. That might be a better...
A friend of Shadow in Obel Lake. Though he does not appear in the game as a physical image, he speaks to the player. He is only encountered on the world map as part of the Obel Lake side quest to obtain rocks to solve the treasure hunt.
Okay, here we go. So that's probably what he's referencing.
Yeah, it's been such a long time since I played 8. Like, it's weird. Like, at some point, I always feel like I should replay certain games just because it's been a long time and I just remember, like, the major plot points of said games. But then I realize how long that would take, and, like, I could use that time better to play something else that I haven't played yet. Okay, here's actually a question for you, Cassie. Have you started Lightning Returns?
I haven't even started Final Fantasy 13 2.
Okay. Like, I was talking yesterday because I was lamenting that I've been using my PS3 a bit more often because there's a few games on that I still want to play, and I hate, switching between the two.
Yeah.
And like, I realized that I only have like 3 more games on my PS3 that I really want to play, and Lightning Returns was on there because I bought it.
But do you want to play it?
Okay, I feel obligated to play it because I bought it.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't play it, and since I bought it, and if I don't play it, then I just wasted money on something that I have no desire to play.
Okay, well, I bought it for $38, so like, imagine that life. And
yes, I remember that day very clearly.
And I feel obligated to play it too because I bitch about it so much. So like, I need to like put my money where my mouth is and like actually fucking play it. But yeah.
I think you're the only person I know who bought this entire trilogy without. Not even playing the 2 other games, but not even beating the first... Like, you bought the other 2 games without even beating the first game.
I think part of it is that, like, I'm afraid to play the games because I'm afraid to like them, and then I'm gonna have to eat, like, 100 episodes of the podcast.
Like, you're going down this dark road of trying it out, and, like, you'll come out liking it.
Yeah. That's... real life, this is what happens with Breaking Bad. I went into it hating it. I finished it hating it, and then... one day, I'm like, I'm in love with Breaking Bad. And like, now you guys know how yes. crazy I am about Breaking Bad. So, like, I'm afraid that that's going to happen again. But back to Graxy's question.
Mr. Monkey responds if you throw a rock at him.
Why would you ever throw a rock at a person,
damn it.
though?
You're a big loser. I'm able to skip the rock as many times as I want. So there. Haha. Loser. Moron. Idiot. Your mom wears a shell suit.
This is mean. That's mean.
Mr. Monkey is a mean monkey.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on because I missed this while killing that spider. But this sounds like a Graxy question.
Talking about Mr. Monkey in Final Fantasy VIII.
Oh, that's great.
Where does he come up with this stuff? Does he just hit the random button on a bunch of Wikipedias or does he just have very diverse interests?
Who knows?
Yeah,
maybe he'll make a book of every single podcast question that he's asked us, and it'll be archaeologists will find it in 2,000 years. Yeah,
I feel like he's
puzzled. This was a great man from their time, just Socrates or something. The great Graxy.
I feel like he's studying us. I feel like he's judging our reactions and stuff, and building profiles of us. Yeah. I'm worried. So, I thought we'd finish with some table topics. Cal, do you have your pile handy?
Yes, I do.
Cool.
And I actually found this weird card that was in it. I guess this was supposed to be at the top of the pile, but it wasn't. And it just has, I guess this was for a fundraiser or something, because it says the National Center of Addiction and Substance Abuse at Columbia University. On it. So I guess they made this to prevent, because it says on this, there's a little information card that came with it, and it said, the more often children eat dinner with their families, the less likely they are to smoke, drink, or use drugs, and it has facts like that, so great. But yeah, I will get a question.
Cool beans. If you guys don't know, table topics are something that we do. We've been doing them a lot lately. They're just a random stack of questions that we pull from. Yeah.
Which TV family is most like your own?
Oh, man. Okay, the first thing to come to mind was Roseanne, just because that's my favorite, television sitcom.
Roseanne is great.
I really like Roseanne because I feel like it portrays something that you don't really see on TV sitcoms, which is, a lower class family. They're constantly having trouble, with jobs and paying bills and finding work and all. Roseanne is friggin' magnificent. I love Roseanne.
Yeah, I really love the show. It's just been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah, and Darlene is me. So I really like Roseanne. But I don't know if I would say that that's true to my life. The other answer I'm gonna give is Bob's Burgers. I love Bob's Burgers, and actually
I've still never seen that.
Bob's Burgers is great. We've been talking about doing a group Bob's Burgers costume with my family. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but we have enough people if we include my mom's boyfriend. I like the comparison to Bob's Burgers because if you've ever watched Bob's Burgers, all of the kids are friends with each other and they're really close and they hang out all the time, and they of course make fun of each other a lot, but they're really tight with each other.
That's what friends do.
Yeah, and I'm really tight with my sisters, so that is a good one. And in thinking about doing a group costume for it, of course, we have to sort out, who is who. And it wasn't even a question. It was directly to, okay, Louise is, the small one that wears bunny ears all the time, so that's my sister Becca. Jean is just Jean, so that's my sister Shell. And I'm, of course, Tina, because Tina, if you don't watch Bob's Burgers, Tina wakes up early to write erotic fan fiction. So that's I feel that in my bones.
That does fit you to a T.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Bob's Burgers.
I'm not really sure with this one because one, I unfortunately do not watch a lot of TV, I don't really, I can't really. There's no family that I could really think would be a good comparison to my own, which I don't know what that says about families on TV or my family, but yeah, this is hard because I just really can't think of anything that could even be close to it, to be quite honest. If we included extended family, I have people in my family that reminds me of George Costanza's parents, where they just yell at each other all the time over every little thing.
Oh, well, if we're talking extended family, then everybody loves Raymond.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, I mean, funny you say that, but like, if you've ever seen Seinfeld, you know George's family, his father and mother, they're just constantly yelling at each other over just the most minute amount of things. Like, oh, should we sit at the booth or should we sit at the table? And then they just, the whole, I don't know. It's like, it just reminds me of a lot of just some screaming matches my Italian side of the family sometimes get into. But yeah, there's that.
Actually, like, my answer would probably be identical to yours pretty much. Like, I can't think of a family on TV that that my immediate family, even my extended family, actually, like, I can't even think of anything that really comes to mind. I don't know, I don't watch enough TV, I guess.
Have you ever watched Gilmore Girls, Lexi?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Well, Gilmore Girls is one of my true passions in life. And
another one of her true passions.
Yeah, I just thought of it because it's like just a mother and daughter living together, which I know you live with your mom or lived with your mom. So yeah. my brain went there, but I love Gilmore Girls, so that might be it.
I was gonna say that as well, actually, but not Rory and Lorelai. I was gonna say Paris and her family, and then something else that popped into my head was Matilda, but I'm like, that's not a TV series.
Oh man,
Matilda was really bad.
These are not flattering pictures that you're painting here, Cal.
I know, they're not.
I mean, I guess Paris at least had her Portuguese nanny, though, that was really nice. So there's that. And she met Doyle, so there's that also. I've watched a lot of Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, I've watched a lot too. I think it might have been you who recommended it to me, and that's why I started.
It's great. It's on Netflix now. So
yeah. But I mean, I guess if we're talking about, I feel like, you know, there's the like KH-V family kind of thing too, and every time I think about that, I think about, obviously, like, I have my roleplay in the roleplay section, and we're all pretty tight in there, and I guess the most relatable for that, in, like, if we're comparing TV shows, would be I think it's called The Guild, and I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix.
Oh, yes.
That is exactly like, I mean, we're a lot more than, I think, 7. I think there are 7 on the but it's a pretty good representation of all of the people that we have in there, so I think...
I mean, hopefully you have nobody, like, stalking you and showing up at your door.
Hopefully there's no Zabu in your situation. And what's the Vork? I never really liked Vork. Vork was always just, like, there. I think that was his name, the bald guy?
Yeah, Vork.
Yeah, Vork, okay. I really like Blade, though, so, and I'm sure you have a Blade. Everybody has a Blade in their life. Yeah, I mean, speaking about, like, more friend groups, where I work, it's, like, a small place, so we're all kind of friends with each other, so we've spent extended periods of time sitting down and deciding who everybody is in the office, because we all really like The Office. So those have been some humorous comparisons. I usually get Pam in those situations. I see, but this is running into the scenario where I feel my podcast persona is different from who I am in real life, but in real life I am kind of a Pam, so I don't know. I like The Office a lot, so that's one of my most watched shows, yeah. Since we have a guest, I think that we'll go with this weird list of table topics questions. So, Lexi, if you can give me a number between 1 and 365?
What are the chances she chooses the same number?
I mean, given the number that we did before, it's higher.
True.
I'll go with 211.
Okay, that is not the number that we did already. Let me scroll down. Okay, 211. What will you never give up on? Oh, man.
Give up on?
Never give up on.
Never give up on life.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, like...
I'm gonna live forever!
Never give up on life.
Like, I feel like if I say something like material, it'll sound really shallow. But if I say
Can I just
like...
reiterate how dumb all these questions are? Like, even the last one we did, that was a dumb question. And this just
what is the meaning of life is not a dumb question, Nick.
It's a dumb question.
Yeah, but what will you never give up on?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess, like, in terms of, like, things that I've been trying to accomplish for a long time, I still want to build my arcade machine. Like, I want to do it someday. I guess that's my ultimate goal. It's been going on. It's been, like, 2 or 3 summers, and I've just made, like, slight amount of progress every time. But someday.
You're an adult. You are an adult, and you're making adult decisions to build an arcade machine.
Yeah. Other than I mean, I don't want to give up on, like, my degree. I guess that's kind of important. I guess that's all I have. I don't know.
Like, I mean, the immediate thing for me is I don't want to give up on the idea of actually getting a job. It's so soul crushing looking for work. But like, that's me right now. I guess the added part of that is I don't want to give up on the idea of eventually building a computer, because I really need to, and I really want to. And having known people who are probably going to be doing it soon just drives me further to finally do it.
Cal?
Well, I don't even know. Waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3 popped into my head. That's something I will never give up on until it comes out anyway. But I don't know. Maybe it never will. Hopefully that's not the case. But I mean, something else that came into my head was I've been writing this book since I was I think I was like 12 or 13 when I started this idea, and now it's become, I mean, I'm almost finished it now, but I need to go back and rewrite because I realized that I missed something, and that kind of annoyed me a bit. But yeah, that's something else that I don't think that I will ever give up on.
That's better than some people I know who's been writing for a while.
Okay, let's not drag my Star Wars fanfiction into this.
But you like talking about it so much.
I do. I love talking about it. It's just writing it that just doesn't happen. Okay, well, I feel ridiculous because, like, you guys are listing, like, relatively short-term goals, and maybe it's because I'm obsessed with mortality, but I immediately went to, like, what am I going to be doing on my deathbed?
I mean, like, I always have these thoughts of, like, okay, if I died right now, what?
Oh, yeah.
What's the point? Has anything been done that's noteworthy?
I just, like, I read the word never, and I'm like, okay, my whole life I have to consider here, like, you know, hopefully, like, 80 years. And hopefully, I mean, we talked about in another episode that I've always thought I'm gonna die young, but, like, I'm not crazy. I just
I know. I don't think you're crazy.
It's the mortality thing's just always on my brain. I don't. Okay.
It is okay. I can relate to that on various levels.
It's just like sometimes it occurs to me in daily conversation that not everybody thinks about their death 24/7. But okay, so never give up. So like in my response to this question, most people like silence that voice, but I'm always just like, and I just started my semester at college, and like, you know, have to do like the lame, like, introduce yourselves to somebody in the class, and it's been a while since I like socialized with people, and so
they still do that. Like, I guess it depends on the degree, but in my computer science, they got to the point it was like they didn't even bother.
Well, because you guys are all antisocial weirdos, but like,
of course.
But like, you know, one of the questions is like, what do you do with your time? And I actually said to someone, like, I kind of just sit at home alone, not talking to other people, and that was not a normal response, and I kind of freaked out the other person. And then I was talking to somebody else, and like, I brought up like death and dying, and I'm like, I'm afraid of what I'm turning into. But back to the question.
You are a great conversationalist, by the way.
Not at all. But okay, so never give up on. So like, I went to what will I be doing on my deathbed, and two things popped into my head. One was Star Wars. I don't think I will ever stop loving Star Wars. I love Star Wars so much. And
what if it fails so spectacularly?
That's the thing, though. It already has. The prequels already
More
happened.
so than that, though. Like, can you imagine something worse than that? and then multiply that by 100.
I don't think anything can be quite so bad as Attack of the Clones, and I love Attack of the Clones. In terms of like Star Wars movies I've watched in my life, it's like number 1 Empire Strikes Back, number 2 Attack of the Clones. I will love anything that Star Wars does and makes because it's Star Wars, and I never will give up on that. And the other thing that came to mind was greeting cards. I love bad greeting cards, like really funny birthday cards and just like weird greeting cards, and I want to forever be sending those to people. I want to be the grandma that like most grandmas sends like, to my granddaughter on her birthday, lots of love, XOXO grandma, like that kind of thing. I want to be sending the like, I have a collection of greeting cards in my desk drawer just to pull out whenever because I find them so funny. I'll never give them to anybody because I just think they're so funny and I'm going to keep them for myself. But one of the ones that I have them, I'm just going to source. I want to be the grandma that gives out the ones with like a picture of a cow on it with a bunch of holes in it and it says, "Holy cow, it's your birthday." I think that those are hilarious. I love those. Those are my favorite thing in the world.
I will say though, when last time I got a package from you, I was disappointed it didn't include a card.
It's hard because I have all these cards that I buy that I love so much, but I don't want to give them to other people. So I really just need to start buying 2 copies.
I think you've even like expressly written in the thing like, "Hey, I had a card for you, but I didn't want to include it."
Yeah, so catch me at 70 watching Star Wars and sending out weird greeting cards, basically, is what we're getting at here.
I can see that.
Yep, so we finish off with community news and projects. I don't have anything to talk about because we already talked about the member guest thing, but if you guys want to plug stuff, go ahead.
Game of the month for September. Well, if you're hearing this, it's already September. But the topic may go up a little later than usual. But the winner was Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, which I don't think anybody doubted that would be the winner, considering that's probably one of the biggest games coming out this year. Second place was Animal Crossing, though, so go Animal Crossing. And third place, I have to decide because nobody else voted for anything else. So I'm going to have to decide what the third place game was. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid 5 is the winner, and I intend to doing a bit more work on that topic because Metal Gear Solid is a franchise that is very near and dear to my heart. So I want to put a little extra effort into that. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid 5, that's actually going to be out tomorrow, or today as well, if this goes up on Tuesday.
If this goes up on Tuesday. Thanks a lot.
I'm being realistic here. Yeah. But yeah, that happened, and so congrats to Metal Gear Solid, I guess, on its final farewell.
Okay, alright, so that about concludes episode number 104 of the KH-Vids Podcast. We talked about YouTube gaming, so definitely do let us know what your experiences are with YouTube gaming and whether you think you'll make the jump from Twitch. And there are a lot of ways that you can participate in the KH-Vids Podcast. You can submit a question to the KH-Vids Podcast by filling out the form linked to the episode of the podcast source and email to podcast@KH-Vids.Net. You can apply to be a member guest on the KH-Vids Podcast by filling out the form linked to every episode of the podcast. All you need is a Skype account, a microphone, and headphones, and we'd love to have you. You can submit a topic to the KH-Vids Podcast, which we are in dire need of. Submit a topic to the KH-Vids Podcast by filling out the form linked in the sticky in the podcast section. Tell us what you want to hear us talk about, suggest spoiler casts for us to do, anything like that. And then finally, of course, you can leave us a comment on the podcast, letting us know your thoughts on the episode, answer or just submit a questions, anything like that. So, that about concludes our episode. Thank you all for listening and have a Kingdom Hearts day.